I feel like it was always trying to be as able-bodied as possible in some way. It was kind of like a push to be like, okay, try not to use your wheelchair, try to walk even though it hurts. And at some point it's just like, you know what, I deal with chronic pain and I need to use my wheelchair.
I'm Joshua Ung, host of Hygge Game. I've invited 6 youth with disabilities from across the country to meet me at a board game cafe just outside of Ottawa to talk about our experiences while we play some games. I've got game because, in spite of my visual impairment, I'm always able to see the bigger picture. First up is Carly Fox, a neurodivergent disability advocate with idiopathic arthritis living in Ottawa.
I got game because I play outside of the rules.
Next is Joe Fornacier, a blind hockey player and TikTok influencer from Burlington, Ontario.
I got game because every piece of adversity that's thrown at me makes me stronger, so I'm pretty much invincible.
Alicia Chenier is a blind motivational speaker, actor, and activist from Sudbury, Ontario, who also lives with a brain tumor.
I've got game because I have the fire and the power to create change and authentically be myself.
Noah Vucic is a public speaker and Paralympic long jumper in the intellectual disabilities category from Calgary, Alberta.
I got game because of my confidence and perseverance and just being willing to try new things and seek out as many opportunities as I can.
Also from Calgary is Mary Lou Landry, an actor and pageant contestant living with functional neurological disorder and partial hearing loss.
I got game because I am resilient and I always find a way to rise above.
And finally, Ana Vallejo Perez, a Kelowna, BC-based creative writer and musician who uses a wheelchair due to brittle bone disease.
I got game because I want to do everything and I will try to do everything.
Today, we're playing the Hygge Trivia Game, featuring pleasant, feel-good questions. This is Got Game. All right, I'll ask Anna. Okay. Is the logo of the game maker Atari all capital letters?
I don't know what Atari is. Oh wait, yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know what Atari is. Yes, I will say yes.
Yeah? Yeah.
Total guess.
Yeah. Okay.
It is. Thank you.
All right.
Awesome.
Alicia.
Okay, I'm gonna ask Carly this question. Okay, why have wine bottles traditionally been stored on their sides?
I feel like I'm being profiled. I'm gonna say so they don't spill.
To keep the cork moist so it does not dry out and shrink.
Fair enough.
Okay.
The more you know.
Did you? No card for Carly.
You put it at the bottom of the thing.
Okay, put it at the bottom.
Yeah.
I thought you were a trivia legend.
I thought I was a line legend.
For years.
You said you were a whiz. What?
All right, now who are you asking?
I'm gonna ask Joe.
Here we go. Oh man, I'm on the spot, I'm nervous. I'm sweating already.
Joe, does Niagara Falls completely freeze in the winter?
No chance. No chance.
You just freeze it midway.
There we go. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go. Get me on the board here. Here we go.
All right, before we continue, I think I'll ask Anna a question. Anna, can you tell us about your disability?
Yeah. So I have Stereotypes imperfecta type 4, and it's also known as brittle bones. So my type 4, it means that I have malformations in the collagen in my body, and so what that means for me is that my bones can break really easily. I had a lot more fractures when I was growing up, so when I was as a baby, I was born with multiple fractures actually, and I also had curvatures in my legs, so I also have a really short stature, and when your bones are so weak, my muscles are also kind of weak. I've had about over 10 surgeries and maybe between 50 or 60 fractures in my life. Yeah, brittle bones, so that's what they call it for a reason.
Mary Lou, do you have a question?
Well, growing it and with a disability in Ecuador, how was the mindset there compared to here and stuff?
I guess this also has to do with the mindset of me growing up with a disability, period. And I feel like it was always trying to be trying to be as able-bodied as possible in some way. It was kind of like a push to be like, okay, try not to use your wheelchair, try to walk even though it hurts. And at some point it's just like, you know what, I deal with chronic pain and I need to use my wheelchair a lot. Like I'm using it more now, or like I can't do like a bunch of exercise and maybe that's fine. But it's like, no, I'm disabled, I use mobility aids, and it's just something that like it's taking me my whole life to accept in some way. So yeah, maybe like it didn't really like change place-wise, like, but just like age-wise or just my upbringing, definitely.
Yeah. Anna, reading your bio, I saw that you were interested in like music and instruments. Did you start that in Ecuador, or was that a thing when you moved to Canada, or?
I definitely started that in Ecuador. I come from a family of musicians from my mom's side, and so I grew up with music. And my mom says like sometimes that I like I even started like making my own melodies when I was like very like a baby, and I started writing music when I was like maybe 6 or 7 years old, and it's just like it's like the thing that comes most natural to me.
Anna was born in Quito, Ecuador. While some doctors suggested an abortion early on in the pregnancy, Anna's mom, Lisette Perez, refused.
I think it is not possible to think another thing, that I was so decided to have her despite anything. And I told her when she was inside me, you will grow up, you are going to grow up with all of love that can exist. Wow. And when she was born, she seemed like a princess. Oh, so beautiful. Yes. And I didn't cry when she was born. I was so happy and so proud to give her. So I thought she's wonderful, and it is my responsibility to help her to do everything she can do.
You're catching the stars with your eyes.
As a music teacher, Lisette filled their home with music and instruments. Anna now plays both the piano and the guitar.
Well, I'm very grateful for everything my mom's done, and definitely her support in the arts has like made me who I am too. It's like these like core parts of my personality, like all of the like music is definitely like something that my mom has brought into my life, and also like the need to do your best in every situation. Like do my best when I'm doing anything, even if it's like a simple thing, like a small job, like at the church, or like a little like playing some music in some kind of like a small bar or something. Like I'm doing my best to prepare for that, and also in my school and my academic things.
Anna's experience with music has also led to a job with a local church, where she helps the office administrator, Sharon Taylor, live stream their weekly services.
One of our congregants introduced us to Anna and her family and suggested that Anna might be able to help us because we desperately needed somebody to help me with the audiovisual table because I couldn't do all the jobs myself. And Anna turned out to be such a gift because she knows way more than I do. Very few of us are.
Minister Tracy Hubbard is also grateful for Anna's expertise.
So how is it right now if I walk? She would see things that we didn't see or know. Yeah. And by we, I mean this one. I don't know anything except I sleep with a mic. But she would see things and go, why not this? Well, let's try this. And yeah, she's so easy to be with. So I'll be leading one of the songs I've written later on. And I'll probably come down as I sing in the third and fourth. She's wise beyond her years, and she's very empathetic, and she's patient. Hey, Anna, Sharon, everything okay on your end?
Yes, everything is good. We can continue. Yeah.
We're ready to go.
Great.
God Game will return after the break. God Game is back. Do you guys want to pick back up with the game?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Mary Lou.
Alicia, in the film Jurassic Park, dinosaurs are cloned by extracting their DNA from mosquitoes preserved in what substance?
No, I just watched this like last week for the first time.
So it's perfect.
I don't remember.
Anyone know?
It's
Anna?
Amber.
Yes.
Stunning. Stunning.
Thank you. Thank you.
Watch like 5 more times.
I have to watch
So
it
happy
5 more
about
times.
this. Okay, Mary Lou,
Yeah.
I'll ask you. Okay. Human fingernails and the hooves, claws, and horns of animals are all made of what substance? Science here.
Yeah, no, I can't answer that. I don't
Does anyone know?
Can you read it again?
Okay, so human fingernails and the hooves, claws, and horns of animals are all made of what substance?
Dude, I know this. I
Insane.
definitely know
I
this.
feel like I know this, but
I think you know. Yeah, I think you know. You know what it is.
best guy.
You know the word. The word is pretty like.
I don't know because I'm French. I learned those things in French.
I'll translate.
I need to remember what the word is.
Yeah, that's the bilingual problem. Yeah, just forget
I
the
don't
word
know.
in both languages.
Wait. Give me like 6 seconds here.
Does anyone else know?
I know because like my grandma takes a supplement for it and she's always like, my nails are crazy.
We got Biotin, isn't it?
No.
You were both.
Okay, should I just say it?
Probably.
Yeah.
Wait. Collagen. Is it collagen?
No, it's not collagen, and it's funny that you said collagen, but it's keratin. It's funny that you said collagen because like my whole condition is a collagen deficiency. Wow. Okay, so what do I do with this card? Do I...
Put it at the bottom of the
Okay.
Alicia, you had a question.
I'm curious, growing up, did you ever, in like the media, see yourself represented in a truly authentic way, or just, how did you see it, I guess, in media and film, if even a thing?
I really didn't. But like growing up, like my kind of seeing myself on TV is mostly just people in wheelchairs because not everyone with OI uses wheelchairs, but I do, and I have since I was maybe like 3 or 4 years old. So that was seeing myself represented, but I never really like actually saw myself represented.
Is that something that other people at the table can relate to, like not feeling represented on screen?
Growing up, being blind, my mom would like try to find some sort of representation, but oftentimes, you get the like the stereotypical sunglasses, which some people use, but not everyone. And often, like 99.9% of the time, they're played by able-bodied people. Yeah.
Yeah, like kind of building on that, like I don't think I've ever heard of a TV show where there's a visually impaired character that's not 100% blind. You know, like I've never heard of that ever.
It's all or nothing.
And I do understand that it's hard for people to like conceptualize being blind without just seeing darkness, but kind of I think that the way that you help people conceptualize that is by putting them in kind of TV shows and different things like that and representing them. So yeah, no, it's an interesting point. I've really thought about that.
Just kind of like, I feel like, not relating to blindness, but it's just this kind of all or nothing representation.
Yes.
I feel like it's very common also with like wheelchair users. So like when I make new friends and they don't really see me walking, they kind of assume that I can't walk and they can get a bit surprised. And I'm like, okay, so I have something to tell you. I can like walk, I'm walking and stuff, and they're like, oh, just like without seeing the different types, just people really just adhere to one thing and they don't even think that there's another possibility.
That's kind of similar to me actually, because in the past year, learning with the walker and the cane and everything, that's also something people don't really understand, that like one day I can be doing a few steps, some days I can't at all and I need my walker, and even with my walker it's hard, but it doesn't mean that because one day I'm with my walker that the next day I can't be on a hike with my cane if I try. So it's hard to find the representation because often it's like, it really feels like all or nothing. Yes. So it's sometimes like, at first it kind of made me doubt. I was like, am I actually disabled enough to be speaking about this when in reality, it's a spectrum.
I liked something that you brought up, disabled enough.
Yeah.
And all disabilities are valid.
Exactly.
No matter the degree, on the day, you could be like vibing one day and then like needing extra supports another day, but that's just part of life and a part of disability life.
I just wish it would be represented more because it brings a lot of doubt, especially like growing up. It's like, where do I go? How do I do things? It's kind of annoying that we have to explain it because even at first still telling me like, you're not deaf enough. And I'm like, what does that mean? What am I doing with this?
A lot of the work I do is around disability rights, and obviously like disability rights are for all disabilities. But my favorite part of my job is like making people disabled and like hear me out. Hear me out. But I realized like so many people, especially with invisible disabilities or like episodic disabilities, they've been suffering in silence for some people for decades because they don't feel disabled enough, even though they are, and they don't access those supports and those resources they need. And I just like, if you feel disabled, you are, and like it kind of like you see their eyes light up and just the opportunities, and like they know that they're not the problem anymore. They know it's the system and society, and it's, yeah, so definitely the favorite part of my job is making people disabled.
You're basically like validating them and their
Right.
experiences, which is so needed.
I do have to joke, like I'm not a court jester, like I can't turn you disabled, like I'm not gonna like knight you, like there's no like kind of celebration.
Knight me as legally blind, please.
Alicia, you had a question.
I'm curious too, and you brought a good point up where we have, like, you know, the way it's portrayed on TV, more than most times, it's physical disability. And you have to, like, you know, as an actor, I'm often told, like, oh, mine's an invisible disability, or it's not showing. Well, what does blindness look like? You know, I'm curious, Noah, have you ever seen yourself represented in TV authentically, or just, you know, in media in general?
Yeah, kind of over the last year, I guess, getting ready for the Paralympics, like with sponsorships and stuff, you know, like sponsorships are very like physical disability, someone's missing a leg, it's a little bit easier to sell. But when people like with visual impairments or like intellectual disabilities, it's a little bit trickier because it's not something that I guess can be seen. I mean, even if I just right now look up intellectual disability, and usually the photo I'm gonna see is someone who's like looks really disabled. Where there's another side where there can be people with intellectual disabilities, like myself, who are really social, really outgoing, but still need help in other areas of life that might, I guess, not be able to be seen.
Sometimes able-bodied people want to, in a way, separate themselves from disabled people so much that they prefer to just see someone that looks really disabled versus someone that looks really able-bodied, when in reality, there's so many more disabled people than like people think.
Even actually coming onto this show, I remember, you know, kind of the crew came to my hometown, and me and my buddies were kind of filming with them. They were like, "What's like going on? Like, what is this show all about?" And I was kind of telling them everything, and they're like, "It's for people with like disabilities. Like, you're blind, you're not disabled." And I'm like, dude,
Yes.
like, I feel like a lot of people don't even know what it means to have a disability. You know what I mean? And like now his whole perception has almost changed on people with disabilities, because like we're buddies and we're chirping each other all the time and having good times. And he thought like this, if you were disabled, you don't have any of those things. So just to that really like opened my eyes, kind of no pun intended, to kind of what people's perception is of disabilities. So that I definitely agree with everything that's going on here.
Do we get to ask you questions, or are you like?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, no,
All that equal opportunity.
Yeah, before I'm excluded from the whole thing.
What is the name? Oh wait,
Yes.
Josh. What is the name of Han Solo's starship in Star Wars?
Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Good.
I'm nerded
Not to
out.
out myself as a nerd, but
All right. I'm giving this question to Noah. As an athlete, I feel like you should know this one.
I hope so.
Okay, here we go. What does the score love mean in tennis?
I don't even think I could even tell you.
You gotta throw a number
Yeah.
out. Just throw a number out. You got a 1 in 100 chance.
Any number?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't even know.
Remember?
Is it a number?
Oh shoot. Yeah, I said this. What's
Oh yeah.
Okay.
11.
11? You're incorrect. Does anyone else know it?
I'm just gonna 5.
No.
69.
2,
No.
4.
What?
No. No.
0.
0.
Wow.
Oh, really?
That's from Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Put some respect on the.
Oh man.
Got Game will return after the break. Got Game is back. Anna, can you tell us about your transition from Ecuador to Canada?
It changed a lot in terms of my social life, especially because I mean, there's like buses where I can get my wheelchair on it. Like that's not something that happens in Ecuador.
How old were you? when you came?
Well, I'm 22 now. I came when I was 9. Yeah, when I was 19.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so it was for university. I mean, also like just studying university and feeling like so much more independent. And at the same time, I still need a lot of like things. Like it's not like some accessibility takes away my disability at all, obviously.
No, I was kind of reading your bio, and I just found it really like resonating how you were able to move to university and just like kind of find your own life for the first time. So I just kind of like to know like what was that process like, and has it kind of impacted how you experience disability?
I feel like coming here to Canada, it was also to be more open with my queerness, and especially in the university, you know, like it's just like it can be more of an open space, and the friends that I've made are mostly neurodivergent, mostly queer. The Venn diagram is a circle. But I feel like it's impacted me in ways that I feel so much more comfortable with how I present myself, with how I dress, with how I like, even like within my gender, that I identify as non-binary. And coming here to Canada, like, it's made me like even like dress even more feminine in some way, because I feel like I can do this in a way that like people will still perceive me. Like when you get a group of people that really accept you, then you feel like, oh, I can actually explore myself.
Also just to be yourself, whether it's disability or neurodivergence or just openly being queer, like it's just you can be yourself. And it's so exhausting when you cannot be yourself.
Growing up in a world where like, you know, you're like with intersectionality, you're queer, you have a disability, and you're from you're not from Canada, and you came to Canada. What has living with that been like, and how do you bring that into your work?
I really feel like having these different identities overlap, like I feel like it's made me very much more empathetic with different kinds of struggles that other people can have, and much more open to understanding other people. Like I want to like understand other people, because like identity is not like one box and then another box. Like people have to understand that you're like, yes, I'm a disabled, I'm queer, I'm like Latina, I have these issues, I'm neurodivergent, I'll pull it all up, but like all of that is like makes me a person. And it really, like I'm glad that I can have different perspectives to bring to the conversation.
Anna earned a scholarship to the University of British Columbia and now lives in Kelowna, BC.
Hey!
Oh my God, hi! How are you? Hugs.
While studying creative writing with a minor in visual arts, she's become good friends with classmate Timi Adebayo.
We have to write an essay.
Yeah.
What's it like being Anna's friend? I feel like it's the easiest thing ever. It's like so comfortable. I feel like I can like do anything, say anything, be like my most authentic self, and not have to like worry about like how she perceives me. I'm also queer. The best parts of it is that we are ourselves completely and wholly. Yeah. And we get to do that with each other.
In Ecuador, I just didn't really know any queer people. I was really closeted my whole life. I have known that I was queer since I was about 11 years old. I knew that I was like for sure a lesbian when I was maybe 14. Like about my own gender, that came a little bit later, like around when I was like sure that I could be a lesbian and also be non-binary. That's kind of when I went, okay, yeah, then that's it. It's definitely the friends that I made. The friends that I made here that were queer, and we could have like conversations about queerness in real life. Like that made me way more comfortable experimenting in how I dress, experimenting in how I do things, being open about myself, knowing that I have people that would support me if I change my pronouns, if I suddenly say like I'm a different sexuality or anything. I know that it's people that are really open and don't really want to put people in boxes, and that's just amazing.
You know, it's so funny. I feel like recently, like a friend was trying to describe who Anna was. And I was like, I said like offhand as a joke, like she is my reason for like living and like breathing. And as offhand as that comment was at that moment, it's true. It really is.
Okay.
I love you. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. So it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
I feel like normal. I know it's like seems small, but I feel normal. Yeah. She makes me feel normal.
Got Game will return after the break. Got Game is back. All right. Let's do some more gameplay. Nah. All right, so for this question, I'll ask Joe.
Uh-oh.
Here we go.
Okay. What animated TV sitcom revolves around the Belcher family?
Dude, what?
Do not mess this up.
Really? Don't mess this up?
You have pressure now.
I feel like these TV shows are all copyrighted. We should pick another question.
I think you should answer the question.
All right. Say the last name again.
The Belchers.
This is something that I should know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Carly thinks so. I don't blame you.
It's a top 5 for me.
It's a top 5. Okay. It's not Family Guy. It's not The Simpsons. Comedy TV show, Belchers. I might have to, I feel like I should throw something out, though, just to throw it out. I don't even know any animated sitcoms.
It's in like that same range, like
Blind.
Family Guy, Simpson type
Okay.
thing.
Let me say Futurama.
Hell yeah.
Are you serious?
Can I try? I'm gonna get roasted.
All right.
Fairly Odd Parents?
What the hell?
No.
Bob's Burgers.
Yeah.
What is it?
Bob's Burgers.
Oh, that makes sense.
One kid is super
Belchers.
aggressive.
Yeah.
One kid is super awkward. One
Hey.
kid really loves music. It is a neurodivergent dream.
It is an yeah.
You get it.
All autistic.
Oh my god.
As Anna has become more comfortable with her identities, writing has also allowed her to express more and more of herself.
Right now, I'm just working on writing down some poetry and lyrics. For my poetry, I usually do a lot of like more personal and real stuff. And for my songwriting, I like to do more like weird like fantasy stuff. I think I've kept stuff inside for so long. I feel like I cannot like keep it to myself anymore. So I think that's also why I'm an artist. I write about this. I write about it all the time because it's like I can't like hide it anymore. No, it's just like it's there.
Recently, Anna's writing helped her deal with a serious medical issue.
So this is a chapbook that that compiles all of the poems, most of the poems and writing that I did right before, during, and right after I had brain surgery, and when I was told that I had subdural hematoma. And so it's very personal and very vulnerable, but I have barely edited a lot of these things, but I wanted to just share what was in my mind because it was such a difficult time, and it still continues to be really traumatic. It was just last July that it really started. This is the most vulnerable thing I've ever like shown people. I was just deeply anxious this whole time, and I still am. So yeah, I was just really scared of dying, like fully dying. I wrote a will. The will is in my chapbook that I published. And I wrote different letters for different people, and I wrote people that I haven't written in a long time because I was like, what if I die? And then I didn't die, which is great. And they're usually, I don't know if it would be okay to like read a bit of a poem that I wrote. This is a chapbook that I made about my experience with the subdural hematoma.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's called Unreasonable Thoughts from an Unfeasible Head. So I'm just gonna read a small part of it. But this one is called Punishment and Sleep, October 14. This was 2 weeks after my brain surgery. goes. I think the metal box that the shovel keeps hitting is punishment. I think that if I dig inside of myself and dig out the problems, the biggest one is that I think I'm being punished by existing, by this life. After being a tyrant in ancient Rome or a killer in 1920, or every bad thing goes on about guilt. And it's just like, the level of anxiety that I had from this experience kind of felt like it went back on my whole life about like all the issues that I've had, and like it always felt like the universe was against me, and I try to like be like, the universe is not against me, maybe, but it's just like thoughts. Unreasonable because it's anxiety, but yeah, that's my rambling.
No, that kind of reminds me, a lot of disabled people, we have trauma, whether that's little t or big T trauma, and it's because of whether it's medical malpractice or it's because we missed out on so much. And I feel like it's something we don't really talk about, but it's kind of like the world has been made with such diversity. So it's just like being disabled is just part of being human, you know, it's just natural.
Do you guys want to play the game for a bit again?
Hell yeah.
Heck yeah.
Oh shoot, who am I gonna ask? Who am I gonna ask? Go Mary Lou. Go Mary Lou. All right. Does Brazil and Chile share a land border?
But I was about to say, do you really believe I can do geography? We did not do that.
It's a yes or no, you know what I mean? You have 50%.
Wait, can you repeat that?
Do Brazil and Chile,
I feel like yes.
is that your final answer?
Yes?
Yes? You would be incorrect.
Can I
I feel like no one can steal
I
that
go?
though. All right.
Chile has the longest land border in the world. It's like, should be more connected. Maybe Brazil should get bigger. Don't do that, Brazil.
Okay, wait.
Brazil, if you're listening, don't do that.
Fighting
If
for
not,
expansion.
please don't expand. We have enough going on. Noah,
Oh, I know you're gonna pick on me.
I will pick on you. Let the camera know. What country's national animal is the unicorn?
Wait.
Oh,
I don't know why I feel like I know this.
what country's national animal is the unicorn?
Walk in.
You've traveled?
Let him cook.
Yeah, but I didn't even think that was a thing.
Talk about the most unserious country.
Think like folklore.
You have,
The what?
that's a good
Think like
clue.
folklore vibes.
You know it?
Yeah, I do.
Oh wow.
I mean, technically there is a unicorn on the Canada coat of arms. For whatever reason.
That's a lion, isn't it?
What?
No,
There's like and a unicorn.
Okay.
I'm thinking of Australia, but I feel like I'm totally.
That's something Australia would do because they have freaky animals. Does anyone want to steal? I'm so sorry.
I would like to try. Is it Scotland?
Fuck. Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Scotland.
Yeah, Scotland.
You can tell I'm
God Game will return after the break. God Game is back. Mary Lou,
I don't know who to ask. And which one? Hannah.
You zeroed in.
I locked it.
Okay.
Hannah, which is the only country in the world that still has an emperor?
Oh.
Only?
Yeah, there's only one, apparently.
If I guess one of the like really popular countries and it's so wrong, I'm gonna get like, oh my god. Okay, an emperor.
You got this, I believe in you.
No, I don't. I don't got this. I feel like I don't got this. Okay, I'm gonna get this so incredibly wrong, or maybe right.
Or maybe right.
Go for it.
Is it China?
It's not.
Okay, it's not China. I don't even know anything about politics or the world.
Give me Chile.
Good one.
Is
Good
it?
guess.
Is it? I'm just thinking because of a show. Egypt,
No.
if that's even a
Bhutan?
country.
No.
Is it Japan?
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
What?
the tables.
What?
I was like, oh, yeah.
Alicia.
So I'm curious if we can go maybe all around the table and like, what was the most ridiculous thing someone has used to avoid your disability and like naming it? For me, this is funny because I sit on the accessibility committee for my city, and every time like they're comfortable with saying like people in a wheelchair, people who are deaf, and then they get to me, the only blind person, and they say the what do they say hard of seeing.
No.
Are you?
And when I tell you, I was like, Who? Hello? What is that?
Like, I feel like when I'm at, like, at an airport or things like that, those people, when I say, like, hey, I'm visually impaired, could you help me? Then they're, like, freaking out. They go into fight or flight, and they're just, like, trying to say anything. And then sometimes they'll, like, tell me, like, or, like, they'll introduce me to another person that's trying to help me, like, oh, like, he doesn't see too well. And it's like, dude, just say, like, I'm visually impaired or I'm blind. Like, I'm not gonna be, like, I just told you that. You can relay the message. I also hear a lot of people, like, underplaying things, like, and that's, like, they're scared to say blind or visually impaired. So then they'll say, like, yeah, like, oh, his eyesight is not the best. And then they'll be like, oh, yeah, I have glasses as well.
Yeah. That was a common thing.
Well, it's a little bit different than that, but, you know, whatever. So, yeah, I feel like that's when it, like, is kind of the worst, when people underplay it to not offend me, and then it just ends up hurting me in the end.
I was thinking what to say, and a lot of the times people just acknowledge like the wheelchair as if that's me, which I do that, but I can do it. You know, I can say that, and they go, yeah, the wheelchair over here needs to get over there. Yeah, we got a wheelchair here, we got a this. And it's just like, there's a person on top of it. You know, it's like, it does bother me a bit.
I have a question as well. Like, in the music community, have you had to kind of jump over any hurdles with your disability or face anything with that?
I know that there's a lot of like issues out there, especially when I don't see like I've seen like one or two people in wheelchairs that like do music, and it's just like on social media, and it's just like, oh my God, someone, you know, I go like, yay. But it's like, I don't really like really see it. I follow like someone that for like a long time, that's a physically disabled Latina. She posts a lot of the comments that she gets, and it's just a lot of ableist comments.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, oh, your disability is not real, you're this whatever, you're using your disability for promotion. And that's the kind of thing that I want to be like, wow, if I'm going to post, like, do I share my disability a bunch? But at the same time, it's like, I don't think I can physically handle those comments. And that's why I feel like I hide from like being in the public so much. And now I was able to I'm able to sing out loud. But there was like huge time, especially in high school, that I fully like kind of lost my voice. Like I would sing in choir in primary school. But then there was like a period in like high school where I was singing really slow, like really low, like almost whisper singing, like for a long time, and I had to like relearn how to sing because I felt like I had to be like small and small and small in some way. But it's just like maybe I'm in my head a lot. Maybe all of the things that I've experienced have made me be like, oh, I shouldn't like take this much space, maybe like this kind of thing, even though I want to. So yeah, I mean, I hope that it is an open community, but it's like hard to get into it just mentally sometimes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like literally like pretty much every day for the past like 3 years, I've been posting about my journey as a blind hockey player, a visually impaired athlete, and then also answering moronic questions that I get on a day-to-day basis. But it's definitely like, I mean, I'm used to it now, but when I first started, I had a lot of people saying I'm faking my blindness. Probably like over 10,000 comments of me saying that I'm faking being blind. So I got that a lot. But also people that were like really curious to learn, and that was amazing. Like, I'd say the positive has outweighed kind of the haters and the negativity.
I've been studying a lot about disability arts and disability culture, and I think there are very few musicians and singers and songwriters who have those experiences and can authentically listen to them and like write them and understand it. So I think what you're doing is absolutely incredible. And I will be going and I will be like listening to your stuff if you have anything out there and, you know, following your journey.
Thank you.
While pursuing music is an important next step for her, Anna wants to be known as a multidisciplinary artist.
Settle on cherries, impotence of berries. I'm not growing older, the branches can older. Music is for me maybe the most important thing. It comes very natural to me, and I'm always either singing in my head or writing down lyrics. And so I just want to keep doing that. I just want to like see what opportunities appear and take all the opportunities and keep doing it. You know, I will never stop writing. I write different kinds of things like poetry and then fiction and short fiction and scripts, like you know, screenwriting and songs. So like I definitely want to stop trying to just be one thing and instead like accept that I'm a multifaceted artist. And I always want to be involved in projects that are for the different kinds of arts that I like, because it makes me like I can express myself in different ways through each one, and also like reach different people in different ways.
Got Game will return after the break. Got Game is back.
I'm gonna ask Joe a question.
Don't be about pressure again.
No.
Can't handle that.
In golf, the first shot on a hole can be called a tee shot, as well as what other name?
What?
I don't even know that one.
That's really strange.
My dad is a groundskeeper, and I don't know that one.
Yeah. A tee shot or what other name? A drive?
Yeah. Nice.
Let's go.
Ooh. Noah, what is the difference between green and white asparagus?
Girl, what?
I didn't know there was white asparagus.
One is green, one is white.
Either.
One is not asparagus or something like that. I don't know.
I like what is
I did not know that was.
One tastes like not a vegetable, if that's a thing.
That's definitely not what that back of the card says. One
I feel
tastes like
yes.
not a vegetable.
Color.
amazing.
Yeah, but no.
Okay, no, I know. Can I try? Is it pigmentation?
No.
Damn.
That's just color and a
Wait.
Yes.
Please. One's grown underground and one's grown above ground.
Hey,
Give me that.
Vegetable king. Like,
Vegetableologist.
Oh, we're dropping cards. I have so many cards, it's hard to keep track.
Okay,
Yeah,
flex over
white
there.
is underground and green is above ground.
Wow.
Interesting.
Okay.
okay, get the tripod out.
Along with poetry and music, Anna enjoys filmmaking and screenwriting. She's currently working on a short film with her sister, Sarah Vallejo.
Okay, you get the camera, I get the tripod.
Okay, yeah.
I also like to do films, and I've done like some short films. I did a documentary with other people, a short documentary about international students, which has done really well, and we've gotten into different film festivals and won different awards, and it's very exciting.
Through all of her personal experiences and artistic projects, Anna has found self-acceptance.
Okay, so stand like ominously, like near the tree, and then we'll do like you're like just appearing there, okay? I think that I would not be myself without my disability, without the experiences that I've had. And I've definitely thought about what it would be like if I just wasn't born this way. But I honestly think that I like the way that I view people. I like the way that I view the world. And I feel like I have like a lot of empathy for people that struggle in different ways because of the ways that I've struggled. And so I wouldn't want to take that away. Los lentes están negrísimos ahorita.
Noah, you had a question.
You know, obviously you seem like you want to promote disabilities and kind of be an ambassador for people with disabilities. But I guess my question to you is, did you always kind of want to do that? Or was there a point in your life when you were younger that you didn't like talking to people about your disability and promoting it and stuff?
I grew up like completely visibly disabled. And I didn't like when people like just asked me about my disability. And only when I actually started talking to other disabled people and understood the importance of actually talking about disability issues, then I was like, you know what, this is important, and I actually do want to talk about this and not just be inspiration porn for able-bodied people, but instead like actually try to maybe inspire, even using that word inspire, disabled people. Like I care about disabled people, not just what able-bodied people think. When I understood that I could like actually make some kind of impact to disabled people, I was like, yeah, I can do that. Like I actually do care about this. Yeah.
I gotta ask a question.
Do it.
All right. I'll ask it to you, Carly. What is the fastest bird on the planet?
Peregrine falcon.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You know what? Yeah, I'll throw it to Noah here. Kind of already disappointed me on the tennis question. You should know this one. All right, what fictional city does Batman live in?
Wait, Gotham?
I was like, wait, I am a superheroes nerd. Why don't I remember this?
Oh my God. Second one for Noah.
What?
No, because you're gonna love this. How many jumping events are there in track and field?
Oh.
The pressure has to be so hard.
Yeah, you better get this one.
The bar is here.
4.
Oh, so you have to like name them.
Oh, I have to name
It
them.
says on the card. I'm not being weird. Like you'll get it if you don't name it, but it'll be a
Long
big
jump,
flex if you
high
did.
jump, triple jump, pole vault?
Holy yeah.
Damn.
Okay.
Is an
That's for it.
Paralympia for a reason.
Yep.
Medalist for
You
a
guys put
reason.
pressure on me.
I'm sorry. You rose to the challenge.
Also, I like that we were talking about pressure, and then Anna said the bar is high.
Yeah, we learned our
Even
lesson.
connected.
That went over my head. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. Thanks to everyone at the table for your participation. Anna, it was so great getting to know you over the course of this episode. And that is God Game. Producer Tim Alp. Associate producer Joshua Ung. Host Joshua Ung. Created by Joshua Ung through AMI's apprenticeship program. Developed by Joshua Ung, Tim Alp. Written and story edited by Maureen Carter. Director of photography Benjamin Dion. Camera Ivan Cook, Cameron Barry. Location sound Brian Meyer, Nathan Peacock. Editors Caitlin Martell, Jay Bond. Graphics, Chris Tu. Integrated Described Video Specialist, M. Williams. Supervising Producer, Jennifer Johnson. Content Development Specialist, Karen McGee. Director, Programming, Lisa Ann Gagne. Director, Content Development and Production, Kara Nye. Produced for AMI by Mountain Road Productions. Copyright 2025, Accessible Media Inc.
An AMI original production.